Hey everyone, this week we're doing some landscape photography and we're comparing the images from a 35mm film camera to a modern smartphone. So I thought I'd mix things up a little bit this week and do some film photography. I brought with me the Minolta SRT-303 35mm film camera. And what I'm going to do is take some shots. I'm at Digley Reservoir and I'm going to get some sunset images and then compare them to some shots from a modern smartphone. So I've got a Google Pixel 7 camera. You can get the 8 now, but the 7's still really good. And I'm going to compare the modern technology of the smartphone camera to the vintage analog technology from the film camera. So let's head down and get some shots. So the sun's starting to go down. It is quite cloudy, but I'm hoping there's enough breaks in the cloud for some sun to come through. And at the moment I'm just getting some shots with this really ornate platform on it. We've got the overspill and the water going down there. So that's quite interesting in the foreground. I'm using a 28mm lens on the Minolta. That's quite wide. I might need to change it to the 50 so that I don't get any of the other foreground in front of the platform. So yeah, it's the type of day where the weather could go one of two ways really. It's either going to be really good and a spectacular sky or just really grey and cloudy, so fingers crossed. Well, the light's getting pretty good now, so we've got lucky there. When I'm using the Pixel, I've got choice of 3 different lenses, so I'm not using the 5x telephoto one, but I am switching between the 1x and the 2x. The 1x is kind of like about 24mm equivalent on a 35mm camera, so I'm using that when I'm comparing it to the 28mm lens on the Minolta. When I'm using the 50mm lens on the Minolta, I'm using the 2x lens on the Pixel because that's more or closer to 50mm equivalent on full frame. Okay, so I'm done now. It's been a bit of a whirlwind this evening. I wasn't sure the weather was going to be good. It was really grey earlier, but then we got some spectacular light coming through and it was all hands on deck. I had to work really fast. And then obviously I've only got 20 or so shots with the film, so that was it. I was done and I didn't do much talking. But I'm going to get home now, I'm going to get Otis some dinner and we'll have a look at these photos once I've got them developed and we'll compare them to the phone shots. So next time you see me, I'll be back home. I'll see you there. Dinner time. You're going to get some dinner. Come on then. Good boy. So some fantastic light this evening. I really wasn't expecting that. The forecast was looking grey and when we got there it was really cloudy, but as the evening progressed it just got better and better and that golden light just came through. There was enough cloud left in the sky for that detail and interest and I got really lucky. I'm really glad I went out this evening. I'm going to show you some shots in a second comparing the smartphone and film camera images. But before I do that, I just want to point out something really important that I didn't mention earlier, and that's that all of the Minolta shots were captured using Kodak Ultramax 400 film. So let's have a look now at all those images. Okay, so if we take a look at this image first, this was captured just before golden hour, and you'll see the colours are quite blue, green, we've got a little bit of an aqua tint there, and I'm not quite keen on that, to be honest. Even though this isn't in golden hour, we haven't got that orangey yellow light, I would like this to just be a little bit warmer, and I think the film here hasn't really helped with that. I could change the colour in Lightroom, but I don't really see the point of that. I think if you're going to use film, you need to embrace the quality of it, otherwise you might as well use digital. I have just played around with the highlights and shadows to bring a bit of detail out there. You see, if I turn that off, the sky is just a little bit blown out. So I've brought back a bit of detail there, and I've brought back as much as I can in the shadows. But I'm comfortable doing that. I think that's more akin to dodging and burning if you were developing this by hand. But like I said, I don't really want to play around with the colour or the noise or anything like that. If we look at the overall quality of this, it is a little soft, especially compared to the digital shot, which we'll look at shortly. But that's to be expected. We're using a vintage lens, analog technology, and it is also getting dark here, so the grain in the image is really not helping out with the clarity and sharpness here. Here is the digital shot. You see you've got much more clarity and a lot more dynamic range, but I did have to edit it still, so the sky is still a little bit blown out here. But we've got much more scope with that dynamic range, with the modern technology and the raw file to pull out much more detail there and change the colours quite a lot more. You see we haven't got that green tint in this one, it's a lot warmer, and we have just got a little bit of the golden light just coming over the horizon there. So let's move on now to a shot which was captured during golden hour. So we've got that really nice light coming over the horizon, coming down over the water. We've got those fantastic yellows and oranges, and the colour's a lot nicer in this shot. So again, this was the Minolta with the Ultramax 400 film. I like how the colours in the sky fade out into this blue. You've got a nice mixture there between the blues and the oranges and the yellows. We are struggling a bit with the detail in the shadows, so we're really starting to lose detail now, and that Ultramax 400 isn't coping very well with this level of light. We compare that again to the shot from the Pixel. As you would expect, much more dynamic range. We've got much less grain and noise in the image. I have removed some of that noise using Lightroom, which is something, like I said, I'm not going to do with the film shots. But you see we do have some artifacts here on the horizon which are not great. I can remove those, but I've left them in for now just to show what's happened there. And we've also got some down here in the water. They look really odd. It's fine from a distance, but when you zoom in, they are looking quite strange. So finally, let's have a look at a shot now that was captured during blue hour. So the light's really gone down at this point behind the horizon, and the golden yellows and oranges have given way to the blues and the purples that have come out here. And I really do like the colours in this. It's got a really nice effect and atmosphere to it. But you'll see the analog technology of the Minolta and the vintage lens combined with the Ultramax 400 has really struggled with the shadows, and we've got not much detail there at all. Quite a lot of noise as well. I probably could have pushed the exposure a little bit here to bring out more detail in the shadows, but that would have just introduced even more grain, and we would have blown out a lot more of the highlights up in this area here. Let's have a look at the shot from the Pixel now. Again, struggling a little bit because it was so dark. And remember though that this one was handheld compared to the Minolta, which was on the tripod. If we look in, we see we've lost quite a bit of detail and clarity, as you might expect, but we have got rid of quite a bit of the noise in Lightroom with this being a RAW file. But disappointingly, once again, we have got artifacts on the horizon here. This could be from chromatic aberration, or it could be something with the digital file itself and how it's been processed. Also down here in the water, that's not really acceptable. I think if I was going to use this image for anything, I would have to somehow blur that out and do something with it. So analog film camera versus smartphone camera, is there a clear winner? Well, not really, because they're suited to different applications. If I'm going to be showing shots on screen, then I might choose the smartphone shots. They're a lot clearer, a lot sharper, you've got more dynamic range, as you would expect from the modern technology in the smartphone. But if it comes to printing, I don't think those shots are going to come out great. You've got those artifacts that I showed you earlier, and they're just not going to blow up and reproduce the quality that you would want in a print. So I think in that circumstance, the analog prints might be a lot better, the film camera shots would produce a lot better as prints. Even though you've got that grain, but like I said, you've got to embrace the analog technology. You know you're going to get that grain, you know you're going to get softness, but you've really, if you're going to shoot film, you've really got to embrace that and accept the imperfections. So there are just a few more shots to show you from the Minolta and the Pixel, as well as another one from my drone, so I'll put those on screen now. So that's about it for this video. A huge thank you for watching. If you've liked the video or found it useful in any way, please consider giving me a thumbs up just down below. If you're a regular viewer, I really do appreciate the support, but if you're new to the channel and you're not yet subscribed and you'd like to do so, you can click down there on the big red button, or over here on this picture of me, and that way you'll stay up to date with everything I'm doing each and every week. There's a new video every Sunday morning at 10 AM UK time. So I hope you'll join me next week for the next one. But until then, thanks a lot everyone, and bye for now.